Kareem Camara was the state assembly member for the 43rd District, primarily representing Crown Heights and Prospect Lefferts Gardens. Then in January, he left to join the Cuomo administration, and his seat has remained vacant ever since. With the special election to fill that seat coming up on May 5th, we're counting the days, we're down to just 1 week. And here to tell us why she thinks that she's the best person for that job is Shirley Patterson, the co-district leader for Community Board 9, who is running on the Independence Party line. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome, and thank you for inviting me.
Anytime.
Anytime, and we do appreciate it. You know, I have to ask, the very first question is, you know, you're running on the Independence Party line as a candidate. Why would you not run as a Democratic?
I didn't have the Democratic line, and the person that had it didn't file paperwork to get on the Democrat, so it's off. Because he did have the papers and the votes to get on the Democratic line. And since he did not file, because once you accept it, you have to file the paperwork.
Right.
He didn't do that, and therefore the line is empty.
Do you think the race is any different since they're, you know, Brooklyn is Obama country. It's a Democratic place that we're here. We, by and large, are Democrats there. So do you think that changes the tenor of the race a little? Like when people go in and they're looking at the lines, they're like, hey, well, there's no D here. How do I vote? What's this working? Independence?
It definitely does. Because you got to remember, you have senior citizens. And
looking for that D.
Knocking on doors, they told you point blank,
I don't know.
I got you. Are you a Democrat? I go, yes, I'm a Democrat. I'm going to hit that line. I've been doing it for 30 and 40 years.
Right.
And then you say, well, wait, there's not going to be anyone on a Democratic line. And they step back. And what do you mean? So, you know, you have to explain to them that although 3 of us are Dems,
right,
we will not be on Democratic lines. So I told them what line I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on independent. And if they want to vote for me, they have to go to the independent line and vote for me. So that does make it a little different. It's a special election, and you could get your own line. And that'll be out there. It's a sample of a few things that's going to be on the ballot. So I'm sure that people are going to be a little surprised because you can't reach everyone.
Right.
And everyone doesn't know.
Well,
so
what have you been doing sort of differently as in the past in order to make that
knocking
outreach?
on doors and then trying to remind them if they're going to vote for me. Now you will not, because like I said, people say, I vote Democrat. And you're going to say, well, no, this time there will be no one on the Democratic line.
Right.
Now what might happen with other people, they come in, they don't see nothing on the Democrat, they walk back out.
Yeah.
So I had to explain to them that I would be on the independent line.
Okay.
And some say they understand, but you don't know what's going to happen until you count the votes on May 5th.
So 3 of the 4 candidates are all Democrats, although we may not be on the Democratic line. So what differentiates you guys, since you're all Democrats and you would have presumably been all vying for that D next to your name, but we had one of the candidates here before, and I just want to know what you think differentiates you from those other folks in the fight.
Well, I've been doing community work in that district for the past 20 years. I am a union delegate and union worker, and I feel I have the experience. I've been working with the electeds. I partner with them because, as you know, district leaders, they don't have office. They don't have a budget. You know, this is basically community work. It is, because I also work a regular 9 to 5. I say 9 to 5, but that means a full-time job.
Right.
And like I said, I've worked in the community. I was on the school board for years, and then that, you know, we were responsible for 26,000 students in our 27 schools. I've worked on the neighborhood advisory board. That's when we went around to the residents to find out what did they think we needed in the district, because there was a government block grant that they give out.
Right.
And when we took those surveys, and they all were prioritized, and at that time, most of the things were seniors and youth, place for the youth to go afterwards. So whoever could bring those things to us, those who were chosen, and they would get that grant for 3 years. And as district leader work, it's whatever concerns come up. You know, I worked with Kareem very closely for years before he became the assemblyman and after. I worked with my co-leader, Jesse Hamilton, is why I still partner with him with a lot of things that we did in the district we want to work on in Albany. He's on the Senate side.
Right.
I want to be the assemblyman, and maybe together we can get some things done in Albany. I heard it phrased like, Albany is like a room full of children, and they need an adult up there to find out what's going on. I'm going to be that adult.
I heard it said that, well, I read that you were quoted as saying, I have acted as the eyes and ears of local elected officials. Can you explain that statement?
Oh, well, the Assembly and the Senate and even Congress, they're not in the district at least 3 days a week.
Right.
That's not because they avoid you, but that's the nature of the job.
Yeah.
So while they're away, I'm listening. People are asking me questions. They know I'm the district leader. So when I say I'm the eyes and ears, I report to them the different things that the constituents say they need or that they want. Some of them, I lost the train of thought with what I was getting ready to say with that, but the eyes and ear part, that's what that means. I'm here on the ground daily. And if you have situation, I'm also a resource center because I go to a lot of meetings, I get a lot of information.
Right.
And this information I'm able to pass on and point people in the right direction. Because believe it or not, a lot of folks do not know who their electeds are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't realize that city council, they're here to deal with your quality of life issues, you know, and the senators and the assembly people are away.
Go up the line. Okay,
Yeah,
I
they
have a
don't feel that
question.
way.
then. That was one of the best descriptions you said. It's like a room full of kids and you want to be the adult. That sounds like the worst job in the world to me. I do not want to be in a room full of kids, especially 40-year-old ones. So knowing what we know about the process and Governor Cuomo
culture,
with the budget and tying the ethics
The reform.
reforms into the budget, how are you feeling about potentially being in that room as an adult force working with people? Did Cuomo go far enough with the ethics thing, or what do you think about that culture of Albany? If you're used to being here working, how are you going to translate that into a place where
Well,
not a lot of work
now,
happens?
I've also been going to Albany every year. I work at SUNY Downstate.
Right.
And you know, we're part of 31 State University.
yeah.
There are 3 medical centers. Downstate is one, Stony Brook, and Upstate. When in 2011, the Burger Commission said close Downstate.
Yeah.
They are the 4th largest employer in Brooklyn. At that time, there was close to 8,000 employees.
Yeah.
You close Downstate, you got 8,000 people unemployed, and a domino effect because they all got families. So we had to organize the community. Eventually, we had to get, besides getting, because initially you got in the electeds,
Right.
okay? Then we had to get the clergy. Our chapter president, we all formed an alliance with the community clergy, concerned, you know, the outsiders, plus the union workers. We took 11 buses up to Albany.
Yeah.
The governor wouldn't even come out and talk to us. But we filled that ink well, and we stayed, and they talked where he would, I guess, see it on the radio or whatever.
Yeah.
But this was in protest of, you cannot close this hospital. It is needed. We have a large immigration population.
Yeah.
You don't get off the plane with a medical card.
Yeah.
A visitor might,
Right.
but not if you're staying. Downstate being open and public, they take everybody in, whether you have insurance or not. Ever since that,
Yeah.
we go to Albany every Tuesday from about January to the budget, which is April 1.
Right.
And we go up there and we're knocking on the assemblymen and the state senators, the doors
So how is
across
that-
the state.
How's that colored your view on the ethics reform and what needs to be done? Or are we out of the woods with the ethics, or would you push for more? How do you feel about where
Now,
we
the
are?
ethics, are you talking about whether we should get an increase and not have part-time jobs to stop some of
Well,
the...
you know, that's all part and parcel because, like, poor Sheldon Silver was living on that pittance, so he had to go and get all of this money from people through the law firm. So I'm saying, like,
Well,
do you believe in that as
respect,
part of it?
I never considered it a part-time job.
Yeah.
When I look at what the assemblymen and the senators do,
Right,
so you spend 3 days there.
right.
You got to live there somehow. Then you come home.
It's more than part-time.
It's more than part-time
Yeah.
because when you get here from Thursday and Friday,
Right.
you got people that want to see you. They don't
Yeah.
want to hear everything
For
that
days.
your office have to say.
Right,
Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, you see that they're out there, they're going to events.
Mm-hmm.
You have people that worship on Saturday in your
Right.
district,
So they
so they
can't
can't
see
see you on Saturday.
Right.
So they may all want to see you on Friday. Then you have those that can see you. I know some offices used to be open a little while on
Right.
Saturday over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, to me, it's not part-time. It is full-time, and I believe if they raise the salary
right. Then that'll...
and say, call it full-time, it'll alleviate. You wouldn't have the room if you are supposed to work this full-time.
Right.
You hopefully, I'm saying hopefully because some people work a second job now.
It's true.
I'm saying hopefully you won't have it. But
We are
it's
literally
still,
closing in on 1 minute.
I'm
So
sorry.
Aaron had no. So we want to get as much out of this for the voters, and you, Aaron, has some like rapid fire questions.
Yes, I do. Well, we're not even going to be able to get to all those, but we did have Diana Richardson here last week, and she's quoted as saying that she has pledged to not take money from developers. So what is it that you sort of know or that allows you to take money from developers, or being that
Well,
you're
first of
against
all-
421A? And I know you don't have a lot of time.
right, this is my first time having a campaign team. So I didn't look at every nickel check or whatever that came in. When I looked at the filings, they all look good to me. I never saw the name that the lady showed me an article in the paper.
Right.
I never saw that name on my filing. So from what I understand, it's down, 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 down. When I went to a tenants forum and they asked me, would I give the money back? I said, I have to check with the campaign because I don't know if it's spent or what the status is. But another thing I think about, we're talking about having more low and minimum wage housing. Who's going to do that for us? I think it's going to be developers. The thing is, we have to make stipulations. The stipulations that we must have that 50% of low and middle income. But it's still going to be developers that
to
does
build the
it
stuff.
for us.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how else to answer it. You can't call them all anti our housing. The thing is, it's going to take a developer to get more housing in that on the level that we want.
All right. Okay.
That's my.
Well, we're 1 week away. Any last words you'd like to say to your voters out there, Navarus?
All I say is, don't give up your right to vote. Make no mistake, I want your vote. But May 5th, come out regardless of who you vote for. But I do want it to be me,
All right.
Shirley Patterson.
Thank you
I
so
thank
much.
you.